Hey, everybody. This is Sharika Matthews, your life coach, relationship expert, and creator of Feminine Success Mastery. Thank you guys so much for joining me here again on this Monday evening for another entertaining and hopefully informational session. If you're new to me and you're not familiar with who I am or what I do, my name is Sharika Matthews, and I work with high achieving women to help them achieve success in every area of their lives. But over the last few years, I've noticed that women who have been able to achieve like financial success and corporate success and have all the material things that tells people that you are successful, they don't often feel successful. And the reason that they don't really feel successful is because they don't have successful relationships. Is that I work with these women through my one-on-one coaching sessions as well as through my master classes and programs to help them answer the question, am I in the right relationship? And if they're not in the right relationship, I help teach them how to create for themselves the right and happy and successful relationship. And that is what brings me to tonight's topic. Tonight's topic is it love or is it fear that keeps you in relationships? Working with women at different levels of their success, getting in a relationship is not the problem. They can attract different types of men. But the problem is that we tend to be in relationships that are not the best for us. And we stick in those relationships until the very last day or the very last minute. And it costs us a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of resources when we stay in relationships thinking that we're in love, but we're really just attached to the wrong person. And so what I want to do tonight is really explore our thought processes and help us decipher, is it love that's keeping you in this relationship, or is it actually fear that's keeping you there? And one thing that we know about love is that love is a powerful thing, right? Love can cause us to do crazy things. It makes us, say things we would normally say and go places we wouldn't normally go. We do things, to impress a girl. We do things to impress a guy. History has shown us that love has broken apart families. Love has caused wars. Love has divided a country. But also, love gives us hope. Love heals. Love forgives. Love can cover a multitude of sin. There is so much power in love. And that is why we go to extreme measures. We go to extreme depths and extreme lengths for the sake of love. But when it comes to our romantic relationships, we do the same thing, thinking that we are in love, thinking that we are doing things for the sake of love, when in reality, what we're doing is trying to protect our ego, trying to protect our feelings, and we disguise it as if we're doing it for love. So there are three mindsets I want to talk about when it comes to this. And these statements and these mindsets are things I've heard women say over the last couple of years that's keeping them in relationships that they probably should not be in. So the first mindset is that, number one, you cannot see yourself without them. Have you ever said that before? If you ever said, I can't see myself being without this person, raise your hand or just type a yes in the comment. Because the statement in and of itself, I can't see myself without him, is not really a bad thing, right? When you're in a relationship, when you're in a committed relationship, when you're in a marriage, the idea for most of us is that to last for a lifetime. So when you begin to intermingle yourselves and intermingle your lives and build a life together, and you've done this for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, yeah, it can be challenging to see yourself without a person. But I want to dig a little deeper as to why you're having a hard time seeing yourself without that person. A possibility here is that you're afraid of being alone. You may not have ever lived alone by yourself, or you spent most of your adult life with a certain person. And so that fear of being alone is real. But just because you cannot see yourself without a person doesn't mean that it's being driven by love. It could be driven by fear to protect yourself and to protect how you view your world, because you have built yourself, you have built your life around this relationship and around this person. So the fear of being alone could really drive your decision to stay in this relationship. The second thing that's a possibility here is that you've gotten comfortable. You have gotten comfortable being with this person. You have gotten comfortable building your life with this person. Whether or not that person makes you happy or adds to your happiness, whether or not you're actually growing and you're actually thriving in the relationship, you have gotten used to being with this person for the past 5 years. You've gotten used to waking up to this person every day for the last 10 years. And because of that comfortableness and that familiarity, you're resisting letting go. You're resisting moving forward or moving away from this relationship because it's familiar. That's not love. That's protecting yourself. The third thing here is kind of goes along with the second thing, is that it's a fear of change. When you have been with someone for so long, or you have gotten used to that person being around, and you have kids together, or you have your finances mingle together, you live together, and you built this life with each other. So the fear of change could really be driving your mindset that says, I can't see myself without him. If we were to complete that sentence would be, I cannot see myself without him because that requires change. I cannot see myself without him because I don't feel like changing. I don't feel like dating again. I don't feel like going through a divorce. I don't feel like going through a breakup. I don't feel like doing something that's going to cause a disruption in my day-to-day routine or my year-to-year life. I don't feel like it. That's not love. That's protecting yourself. The fourth thing is that I want you to know about love and fear is that when you are in this mindset of you can't see yourself without this person, oftentimes when it's time for you to start, we're trying to control the situation. We're trying to control the relationship. We're trying to control the person. But love allows change. Love allows growth. Love gives space for relationships and people to grow and expand and move and move along the course of time and the course of the life path you're designed for. And when we try to keep things the way they were, we're trying to keep this person to ourselves or keep this relationship the way that we're used to it being, then that prevents us from truly expressing love. You have to trust love. And when I say trust love, what I'm really saying is you have to trust God, because God is love. And when you trust that love will prevail, then you're not afraid of leaning back and letting the relationship and letting the situation play out. You're not afraid of releasing somebody, knowing that what's meant for you cannot miss you. You're not afraid of letting go of control because you know that love conquers all when love is mutual. You see, it just cannot be you fighting for the relationship. It just cannot be you standing on the foundation of love. You see, you both have to do it. You both have to be willing to allow each other to grow and change. You both have to be willing to allow the relationship to ebb and flow the way relationships in life are supposed to. So when you say that you can't see yourself without him, ask yourself, is it really love that's driving that statement, or is it fear that's driving that statement? The second mindset I want to explore is that you're not willing to throw away the time and the energy you put into the relationship. And I have heard this so many times, because the truth of the matter is, and I'm speaking from a woman's perspective, is that a lot of women really do put in a lot of work, a lot of energy to fight for their man and fight for their family and fight for the relationship. They've compromised, they've sacrificed, they've given in, they yell, they scream, they argue, they've done all this stuff to extend all of this energy into this relationship. And you get to to this point to where you're like, you know what? I am not going to let him go. I am not going to let the relationship go because I have worked too hard for this. I have fought too hard for this, and I'll be damned if I let another woman have what I have built up. If you have ever thought an inkling of this, I want you to put a yes in the comments because it's true. And men can have the same experiences as well. But just because you have fought hard for something, chances are that you are doing this because you don't want to be embarrassed. You don't want to have to face your family, your friends, or your Facebook society and say, yeah, I know that I worked so hard for this relationship for the past 3 years, but I had to let it go. We're afraid of looking like a fool to the world, knowing that we put ourselves out there, we put ourselves on the line for the sake of this relationship. Now, the truth is that you did all of that because you loved him. You did all of that because you wanted this relationship to thrive and to flourish. But when you get to a point when the energy of love has decreased and the energy of desperation, the energy of fear has increased, it is driving your action, it's driving your words, and it's driving your fight. You see, you're no longer being driven by love. You're being driven by fear. You're being driven by fear of embarrassment and fear of pain and fear of things, a fear of loss, really. And those fears are valid fears, but you want to recognize what's driving your decision to continue to stay in a relationship that's no longer serving you. So that's mindset number 2. Mindset number 3 that I've seen too is that I've heard women say, I have never loved anyone the way that I love him. I have never loved anyone the way that I have loved him. And when we have this mindset and when we say this, what we're saying is that I am not capable of loving anybody else, or I am not worthy of being loved by anyone else. What we're saying is that love found me once and love will not find me again. What we're saying is that I am afraid of being abandoned. I am afraid of losing what I already have because I don't believe that I can have it again. And I don't believe that I can have something better and greater than what I've currently experienced. And this is one thing that has really, really helped me in my dating life and in my relationships is really knowing that when something ends, when something is being taken away from me, I know without a doubt that all things are working together for my good. And if this thing is being taken away from me, then I have an expectation that something better is coming along the way. You see, I don't believe that God takes us back and leave us back here. I believe with every setback, God is getting ready to propel us forward, to propel us to something better that's going to bring us more happiness, more joy, more peace, more fulfillment. That is what I believe. So it allows me to not hold on so tightly to anybody or anything or any situation. It allows me to let go of this fear of abandonment, let go of this fear of loss, let go of this fear of pain, and to know still conquers all. Again, God is love. And if I can love somebody this deeply today and this person is not the right person for me, then guess what? When the next person comes along and he is better than the last, and this could be the person that God has for me, that I know without a doubt that I can love him just as much or even more than I love the person I was with, even though that person was not the right person for me. See, that's the thing about love and fear. Fear builds up doubts. Fear builds up a lack of confidence. But love is so confident. Love is so steady. Love is so grounded because love knows as long as I stay connected to who created me, everything is still working out for my good. So although I do feel the fear of abandonment, I do feel the fear of pain, I do feel the fear of loss, I feel it, I recognize it. but I don't allow that fear to drive me. I don't allow that fear to drive my decisions. I don't allow that fear to change my outlook. Because remember what I said earlier, love gives us hope. Love heals. Love creates space. Love expands. Love covers a multitude of things. So I have nothing to fear when it comes to my heart. I have nothing to fear when it comes to relationships. The fear may be there. I may feel the emotion of fear, but I also stand in love. I also stand in the power of God. And I also stand in the power of self, knowing that I can recover, I can bounce back, I can attract, I can manifest exactly what it is that I desire, knowing that my desires are in alignment with God's will and God's purpose for my life. And I know every next step, every next thing's gonna be better than the last. So every time I move forward, I move upward, I move closer to creating the life that's really meant for me. And I move closer into the best and highest version of myself. And that is what I want you to take away from here is, number one, analyze if you're being driven by love or being driven by fear. And number two, I want you to reground yourself and realign yourself, your desires, your thoughts, your wants. Make sure they're all in alignment with what God wants for you. Make sure it's all in alignment with the best and highest version of yourself. There is no need in staying in a relationship or staying in a place where you're not being your best self, where you are not constantly growing, and where you're not constantly thriving. All right, you guys, I hope that this topic was a blessing for you tonight on this Monday evening. If you have any questions about anything I've said here today, leave my comments. I try to respond to all of them as soon as I can. If you have something you would like to ask, or if you have a topic you actually want me to discuss here, leave the topic below, or you can send me a DM and I will see if I can work that into my schedule. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me here this evening, and I look forward to seeing you again here tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Central Time. All right, you guys, have a great evening. Bye-bye.